Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Armwrestling Xtra. As usual, we've got our athlete insight with two guys that I highly respect. Some really good pullers and really great guys. Other than that, what we're going to talk about today, I think I'm going to cover how to learn from our matches. So taking what we can from a loss and a win. So I'm going to go into a bit of how to analyse your matches. It's great with social media these days. You know, everyone's filming stuff, so you more than always you can look back at your matches, and I think it's always really good to look at the wins and look at the losses, learn what you can improve on, and even with the winning matches, try and hone in and figure out what else you need to work on or cover. But we'll get to that in a bit. First off, athlete insight. These guys are brilliant. Tom Holland, everyone will know, and Dean Scarsbrook. Pound for pound, in my eyes, one of the strongest guys to come out of the UK. So here's the first part.
Good afternoon, Ted. Thanks very much, mate, for having me on your YouTube channel. Much appreciated. My name's Dean Scarsbrook. I come from Leicester. I've not arm wrestled for a while, but I'm former multiple British 65 kilo champion.
This is Tom, the Lean Machine Holland here, representing the Slough Slammers Arm Wrestling Club. I'm from Slough, Berkshire in England. Been multiple national British champion in multiple weight classes. I've been the overall left arm champion of champions 3 years in a row. Unfortunately, they didn't do the class last year, so I missed out on that. But 3 years in a row, champion of champions left arm.
Another of my best achievements would be world title match with Jeff Hale of the USA, who's an immense arm wrestler, and I was only weighing 63 kilo on the day, so it was a middleweight title match. I had no weight on me whatsoever. Managed to beat him in a hook 3 times. In the end he beat me, but it was well deserved. It was a good match.
So I asked them both, how did they start arm wrestling? That's question one.
How did I get into arm wrestling, Ted says? It was always something I was good at school, Ted. Used to have no trouble with anybody else at school, up until I was about 15 or 16. And then when I left school, I worked in IT, in an office. And what I used to do in my dinner breaks is I used to go around to the local building sites and take on the builders for money. Because all the big lads would just glance at me and think, nothing on him, that's worth 50 quid. So I did quite well out of that.
How did I get into arm wrestling? Well, parents used to do it in the 90s. I've always been brought up around it. It's always been part of my life. I didn't start training until I was about 15 years old. And then as soon as I started then, it's, as everyone knows, you can't stop it, can you?
Their favourite memory in the sport?
My favourite memory in the sport? It's got to be taking my mum to see me compete in the Battle of Britain against Steve Rogers, a super match at the Trafford Centre. Steve had been dominant for probably 10 years and nobody could get near him. And I think I'd only been in the sport for about 6 months, and I trained specifically hard for 8 weeks, and I managed to win. And I glanced over and seen my mum crying at the side, and that was a lovely memory.
Most memorable moment in arm wrestling is no doubt got to be that match with Joseph Levi. Now that was a match that will never leave my memory. I can still feel the pains in that match from my arm, in my arm now. It's bad, really bad. I'll smash him next time. But that match with me and Joseph was no doubt the most memorable part of my arm wrestling career, definitely.
Have they any other hidden talents?
Hidden talents? I don't have any left anymore. There's nothing that springs to mind. When I was younger, I used to be very good at long jump, and when I was 16, I used to be able to jump 6 metres 75, which was good going for somebody who's 5'8".
Right, have I got any hidden talents? Well, yeah, I've got quite a few actually. I've got top roll, I've got a hook, I've got side pressure, I've got down pressure, I've got a lot of hand control. Oh wait, you're on about outside arm wrestling? Nah, nothing at all. I'm not that good. Just one talent man.
And why do they arm wrestle?
Right, why do I arm wrestle? Well, how can you not when you start? You know what I mean? It's one of them sports that's you literally use all your energy in that one moment. Everything is going into that one moment. If it's only one match, you're putting everything into that one match. It's almost like a fight. You want it over and done with fast as possible, so you're exerting all your energy into it. And the feeling you get, the adrenaline you get, especially after you win a match. After building all that up, then you win a match after all that feeling. You can't beat it.
What's your best advice for a beginner?
Right. Any advice for any beginners or amateur arm wrestlers? Yeah, just have fun. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't overcomplicate it with trying to add too much weight training and stuff in there. Just dedicate to arm wrestling. I only arm wrestled for most of my career, and there's so many other athletes as well that have done that. Everyone's unique, right? So different training methods suit different people. You might find you can gain more power in the gym and you can transition it onto the table. Some people might not be able to do that. So it's all about finding out what works for you best. Like I said, we're all unique. So put it this way: if we all stuck to Devin Larratt's training program, some of us are going to overtake others because it might be suited to them more. Everyone's unique. I can't stress that enough. So it's about being smart, be on the table, figure out your opponents. Don't be afraid of losing as well. When you're losing, you're learning, and when you're winning, you're learning. So don't be worrying about winning or losing in training, and just have fun. If it's not fun, you're not going to enjoy it.
What is the goals for the future?
Do I have any arm wrestling goals? Not really, to be honest. I'd be happy just to be able to get to a competition and have a chat with all the friends I've made over the years. You met some good friends in arm wrestling. They end up like an extended family. So, yeah, in all honesty, I'd just like to be able to get to a competition. But you never know. One day I just might get up and think, I don't feel too bad today. And it just happens to be British Championship Day. So, fingers crossed.
Okay, so... Right, well, I didn't know how to put this in. I wasn't going to put it in. And I thought, no, it takes balls, it takes guts for what Dean shares with us. But basically 17, 18 years ago, Dean had an accident at work. Ran into a shutter door, the bar coming down off it. Hit it full pelt. I would say he was running at it. And then, but basically, yeah, Dean shares you what happened in this next video. Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Dean, for sharing this. It really does. It takes some balls to open up about stuff. So, yeah, good on you, man.
2 days later, I was feeling a bit odd, not perfect. And after a day's work, I went to go to bed. Lay down to go sleep, just like normal. And I was struggling to get to sleep. It was like I just couldn't get my head down to that level. And I tried and I tried and I tried. And every time I got anywhere near sleep, I got an electric shock sensation in the top of my head, which ran all the way through my body into my extremities, causing all my muscles to contract, my heart beat funny, vibration through my head, and that would instantly wake me up. 10 days and 10 nights later, I hadn't slept for a second, and I sat in my car with a hose pipe connected to it because I didn't want to live anymore. It was horrendous, hell on earth. Managed to get to the doctor, and luckily, my doctor wasn't actually on, but there was another nurse what was on, and she just gave me a certain pill, which just happened to be the only one, all these years later, that still works for me. Nothing else works. So if that doctor hadn't have gave me that drug at the time, I'd have died. So I'm stuck with a really rare neurological condition called propriospinal myoclonus at sleep onset, caused by encephalitis from the bang on the head. So that is why you don't see me at many arm wrestling competitions, because I can go for days and days with not having slept for more than half an hour on the drugs I'm on. So it is literally a case of almost on the day, if I feel relatively okay, then I'll try and get there. And that's basically how my life's been since I banged my head.
Thanks Tom, thanks Dean. Hope you guys are enjoying these athlete insights as well. I'm trying to get such a varied spectrum of people. I really appreciate all the athletes, all the arm wrestlers taking part in this as well. Thank you very much. Right, learning from our matches. I'm going to play a little video of a match I had in New Year's Cup this year, so just this year, so a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago. We're losing track of time in this COVID at the moment. So yeah, January time, end of January time. This match is against Tom Mitchell. I want you to have a look at this first, and we'll do a bit of an identity game. So when we watch this video, who attacks first? That's the first thing we look at.
Ready, go. And the first one, Wilson with the win. Ted Wilson with the win in the 17.
So I've watched that video quite a few times, and that's always the first thing I look at. Who's actually initiated first? Who's gone first on the go? Because it's such an important thing to be the first one in the match to move. Your reaction time, very, very quick. I've looked back at that match. We're both actually probably hitting at the same time. Tom Mitchell's coming in with his shoulder, so you see his shoulder move fast. At the same time, exactly the same time, the hands don't really move too much, but you can see my shoulder move back and my lat pressure has been applied. So that's the first thing, reaction time. Look over and over again at your videos. Make sure, are you on point, on the ready go? The next thing to watch is not always just focusing on looking at you, how you move in the match, but look at your opponent. Try and blank you out in the match and just watch your opponent from the go. Try and learn his movements. Is he going effectively? Is there a missing link somewhere? So you've got to look at every single piece of the jigsaw. A lot of the time when I look, you want every muscle group to be working efficiently. So you don't just want, if you're going for a top roll, you don't just want your hand and wrist and your hammer. You want to make sure you're watching that elbow. I look a lot at seeing if my elbow's moved to the back. Yeah, is it just the hand and wrist going back and the hammer curl, or is it connected with the back as well? Or maybe you're missing a little bit the wrist curl and it's just back pressure. And all these little pieces that you need to piece together to get the most out of it. So that match is a win for me, but I've still watched that match probably 50, 60 times minimum to make sure I get the most out of my performance. You need to watch them. Learn your opponents as well, everything. So yeah, biggie. So other little pieces to watch when analysing your matches, your videos of matches. So if it's, say, a hook match, hook war, you need to be looking at things like, did I stay connected enough with the back? Where did I open up at the match? Did I open up? Did I keep full pressure on? Was there any resting points? Did my opponent rest at any time? Was there other places where I could have initiated or moved better? Other things like, just your hand and wrist position. Did I give anything away to my opponent? Was there areas of the match where I should have maybe stayed still? Or places in the match where I should have gone? So you've got to analyse everything from the carving situation point of your wrist, whether or not you were too high on the hand or too low on his arm. Obviously in the hook, if you're lower down, you're shortening his levers, so that's effectively making it harder for yourself. I've seen that on a couple of latest videos of mine. Because I can't wrap with the thumb, I end up, my hand in the hook ends up further down on the arm. So in theory, that's making it harder for me. So yeah, look at every single little angle. Don't just think, did I win, did I lose? Let's get strong. Let's look at every single angle. You've got to be comfortable. Yeah, just cover everything. Okay, so this is tip of the week, and it's be committed. So when you come up to the arm wrestling table, there's many a times in my career I've lost because I've trained one thing and I know to beat a certain guy, say I've got to do a top row, and I've gone up to the table, didn't feel great, and then instantly while the referees are setting me up, I've changed my mindset to I've got a hook. My body position's off, my commitment for it isn't there, and 10 times out of 10 I'll have lost that match because I've not been fully committed and I've changed through the match. So stay committed. If you're aiming to top roll this guy, you don't feel comfortable, come out of the match, the refs will fetch you back in, but try and compose yourself and stay committed. If you know you can do something, go for it. Changing your idea on what technique to use while the referees are setting you up is really not a good idea. And most of the times it just doesn't work. The more experienced you get, it gets easier and you can change. But in the beginning, stay committed. If you're going to go for a top, aim for that top. You're going to go for a hook, aim to get that hook. Don't change while the refs are setting you. Well, I've covered a few bits on hopefully helping you on analyse your matches and learn as we go. I thought we'd just finish off with, I've been watching Tom Holland doing his crazy side and down pressure testing this week, so I've got to have a go, haven't I? So I'm going to get the table set up. I'm going to put my pulley this side. I'm going to use this same handle with the crane scale, and I'm going to see what numbers I can get. Why not? So third time lucky. I've got my mother holding the camera now to try and get this view on the scales. So third time, see what we can get. Yeah. Let's see what we got on that. Well, that's my elbow destroyed. I'm a long way off what Tom Holland's doing and Jason Hill as well. 55 kilo I got in them on the scales then, so quite a long way off them boys. But anyways, hope you've enjoyed this episode with Tom and Dean, and tip of the week, and my silly trying to copy Tom Holland. Yeah, subscribe and like if you haven't, thank you, and yeah, cheers.